just rewatched last night A Woman Under the Influence, and fuck, man, it's about a woman having a nervous breakdown. And it's just so good, and she's so beautiful, and the acting is so real, and the cinematography is, you could touch it. It's literally like, are you watching a documentary? Are you watching a film? Are you watching a combination of the both? But the late, great John Cassavetes, his muse, the sometimes underappreciated, underrated, undervalued Gena Rowlands, who is a true blue, game-changing actress, passed away at 94 years old, and I can't even overstate how incredible she was and how unique of an actress and how much she pushed the genre forward. Boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here on today's banging, high-flying I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Why is the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN, making NFL cutbacks 3 weeks before the season starts? Plus, it's running back season. We're breaking down running backs for your fantasy football season and remembering the great actress, breakdown, game-changing actress, Gena Rowlands, who, if you don't know about, you should know about and study. Gena Rowlands has passed away, talking about her and her husband, collaborator, director, actor, John Cassavetes. All that and more in a fantastic, high-flying, fully loaded, fully disruptive I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming up right now. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dust Brothers. Start this puppy off with something real nice. Start this puppy off with something real loud. But most importantly, start this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real funky. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Liggity, let's go. Boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom. Higgity, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Woo. Ooh. Welcome to the Iron Dome of Disruption. Welcome to the ziggity zone of diggity disruption. Hope everybody's feeling real good. Hope everybody's feeling real safe. Hope everybody is feeling real disruptive. I know I am. And disruption doesn't mean bad. Disruption doesn't mean good. Disruption means whatever you want it to mean. It means being your true, honest, most genuine self. That is the essence of disruption. Being who you actually are. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct midway through the month of August 2024. 2024 is, oh yeah, it's almost done. We're at the halfway point. And when you're at the halfway point, of course, there is so much to be excited about in the sports world. We are weeks away, mere weeks away from the start of the NFL season. Got to talk some fantasy football today. Got to talk some football today. Got to talk some real life shit today. My days of summer are coming to an end soon. It's about to get busy for me. About to get busy. And I can't complain. I'm so lucky. So lucky to be podcasting. So lucky to be living. So lucky to be feeling good. I don't even feel that good. I got a fucking pain in my knee. I don't know if it's like arthritis or what the fuck. I got all kinds of issues. But I'm very, very blessed, and I'm very, very lucky, and I hope everybody else is feeling very, very lucky and very, very blessed. The blessed Disruptive Warrior. And if you guys in the Buffalo area are around the 13th and the 14th. Of course, I'm coming to Buffalo September 13th and 14th. And then I will be in San Francisco September 20th, September 21st. In September, I will be in Buffalo the 13th and the 14th. I'll be in San Francisco at Cobb's Comedy the 20th and the 21st. And then I got plenty of other dates. Busy October. But all tickets, all information is available at michaelrapaportcomedy.com. October is going to be crazy busy, moving and grooving, and then November is going to be crazy busy, but it kicks off for me on the 13th and 14th in Buffalo, 20th, 21st, San Francisco, michaelrapaportcomedy.com. Come to a show. I'm pumped for my fucking shows. I'm pumped in general. I am pumped in general. Like I said, fantasy football. I got my drafts coming up. If you guys knew the fucking arm twisting, if you guys knew the haggling and the amount of text that it took to get the Stern Show fantasy football draft set, the draft day and the draft time set, you'd be like, why don't you just, I was so close to just being like, fuck this fucking league. You dumb ape. Baba Booey and JD. I was so close to just being like, I am done. I'm finished. You guys are too dumb for me to even be playing fantasy football with. You shouldn't even have my phone number. I'm like, if you're not being led by Howard, no, what? It's like they need a wrangler. The Stern Show staff literally needs their own wrangler. So aggravating, but we got it done. I was this close to being like, I'm finished. Fuck this league. Fuck you, Bowie. But then I felt like maybe they're doing this to me. Maybe it was a test. Maybe Bowie was trying to test me. But then I was like, he's too dumb. He can't think 3 moves ahead. How could he possibly be thinking 3 moves ahead with that 3-inch thick skull of his? He's got a concrete skull that's 3 inches of the best concrete. They don't even make that kind of concrete anymore. They've cheapened the mix, but that ape's got the best concrete, the thickest concrete skull on the market. Dumb monkey, bad breath, stinky-lipped gorilla, Baba Booey. But I'm picking 3rd in the Stern Show draft. I'm picking 2nd in my Money League draft, and I'm prepping slow. I'm a veteran now. I'm a fantasy football veteran. How long we've been doing it. How long? How much have we've learned throughout the years? The highs, the lows, the thrills of victory of fantasy football. But I'm going to get to that later. Highs and lows, thrills of victory of working at ESPN. The other day they fired Robert Griffin III, NFL quarterback, great broadcaster, great on-the-air broadcaster. They just fired him. Apparently, they did it on his day off. He posted, he was like, yo, you firing me on my day off? He did a quote, movie clip from Friday. Like, how the fuck you get fired on your day off? It's your day off. ESPN fired Sam Ponder, who does the morning show. She's the straight woman of the ESPN morning show, and Robert Griffin III fired them both on a summer Thursday. That's fucked up. But ESPN, apparently they're making budget cuts, and it was a budget cut thing. It wasn't personal. I was like, damn. They leaned everything with Pat McAfee. Gave him some crazy money. I hope it's paying off. Because they got a bunch of B squatters. You know they're not going to fire any of the NBA chicks. They got an all NBA Today squad. It's like a breeding ground, ESPN. They build you up, they make you famous, and then once you start asking for your worth, boom, they fucking fire you. But Robert Griffin was awesome. He was just a great analyst, likable, smart, funny. But they chomped him stomped him and kicked him to the curb, fucked him and Sam Ponder to the curb, fucked him right to the curb, real nice and real proper like. And, this is tough. The great Gena Rowlands, actress Gena Rowlands, who most people probably know from The Notebook. She was in The Notebook with Ryan Gosling. Her son directed that film. Nick Cassavetes. And of course, she was in and nominated for an Academy Award a couple of times. One time, she was in Gloria, which was a big hit. It's probably her most commercial film outside of The Notebook that she starred in. But Gena Rowlands, I have to talk about Gena Rowlands, the actress who was literally a game-changing actress. Her collaborations with her late husband, John Cassavetes, who passed away years ago, the films Faces, the films A Woman Under the Influence, the films Minnie and Moskowitz, Love Streams, and Gloria, like I mentioned, but A Woman Under the Influence in particular. She was so good and so real, and John Cassavetes is such a game-changing, he's the godfather of independent filmmaking. If you listen to Martin Scorsese talk about the influence of John Cassavetes on him, he idolized John Cassavetes. John Cassavetes, his films were never, ever, ever easy to watch. They were imperfect, and he wanted them to be imperfect. And the movie Shadows, and I'm going to tell you, you should 100% find A Woman Under the Influence if you've never seen it, or Husbands by John Cassavetes, but let's stay with A Woman Under the Influence. He was like a poet and a philosopher about film and art and life. And I used to read his interviews and what he strove for in his films, and pushing and fighting for the reality, the texture, the reality of the texture of the reality, the innards, the blood, guts, and soul of the acting to be acting. And John Cassavetes, who was a great actor in his own right. He was in Rosemary's Baby. He's the husband in Rosemary's Baby. And he was also in The Dirty Dozen. And he came up in a time when acting was wooden. You know, not that they weren't great. It was just the style was totally different. And Marlon Brando and obviously De Niro and James Dean, they get so much credit for sort of bringing the nuanced, realistic, what we know of acting now. But John Cassavetes pushed that shit forward in 1959 with his film Shadows, and then every other film that he ever directed. And Gena Rowlands, who was his wife and his muse, and Gena Rowlands was gorgeous, drop dead, looked like fucking Marilyn Monroe, blonde hair, old school movie star. When they collaborated together on those films that I mentioned, it was something that had never been done before. The documentary, ultra realistic, ultra sort of true to life vibes of those films. And like I said, they're flawed. Faces, this is a flawed movie. A Woman Under the Influence, as incredible as her performance is, she got nominated for that. It's a flawed film. But you ask any actor, particularly any actress, about Gena Rowlands, she is the Marlon Brando. She is the James Dean. She is the Robert De Niro. She is the Paul Newman, along with some other ones, of acting. There's other great women that were pushing it. Betty Davis is particularly later in her career was doing some crazy shit. I mean, crazy shit in a good way. But the grit and the beauty and the woman, the feminist, the feminine energy, and A Woman Under the Influences is so ahead of its time because it's about a woman who's having a mental breakdown. And I don't even believe in the movie they ever mention anything about a mental breakdown. And her husband, played by the late, great Peter Falk. You should watch that movie. And like I said, it's flawed. It's imperfect. It's adult cinema. This is not a movie for a 21-year-old to watch. When I was watching those movies as a kid, I'd get the feeling, I'd get the feel. But I didn't understand them the way I understand them now. And I just rewatched last night A Woman Under the Influence, and fuck, man, it's about a woman having a nervous breakdown. And it's just so good, and she's so beautiful, and the acting is so real, and the cinematography is, you could touch it. It's literally like, are you watching a documentary? Are you watching a film? Are you watching a combination of the both? But the late, great John Cassavetes has passed, and he passed obviously in the 80s again, but his muse, the sometimes underappreciated, underrated, undervalued Gena Rowlands, who is a true blue, game-changing actress, passed away at 94 years old. And man, I just can't even overstate how incredible opening night, how incredible she was, and how unique of an actress, and how much she pushed the genre forward. She pushed the genre forward. So rest in beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, gritty peace. She lived a life. The excellent, excellent Gena Rowlands.
I Am Rapaport podcast.
What else is going on? So much going on. I don't know if you guys are watching Hard Knocks. The Chicago Bears. It's good. It's not great yet. The coach isn't that interesting. Caleb Williams. It's not that interesting. It's always fun watching Hard Knocks, but it's not like the best season ever. But I love it. It's like a tradition. It's like a fantasy football, regular football tradition. I think it's been on 22 years, something like that. And now they're doing Hard Knocks in season, AFC East. I think it's AFC East. It's going to be dope. I love all that shit. So much fun. And if you're looking for a new reality show to watch, and I know you're like, what the fuck? Save it for Rapaport's reality. Mike Rapp? We don't want to hear it here. Well, I'm going to tell you, okay? I'm going to tell you even if you don't want to hear it here. Love Island. What? Michael Rapaport, what the fuck are you talking about? Love Island? You're the Gringo Mandingo. You're the Disruptive Warrior. Yes, Love Island is so fucking good. The new season of Love Island is so fucking fantastic. And one of the many great things about Love Island is there's 31 episodes, 31 hours of your life. And it's just good. It's relatable. It's fun. It's funny. And I stand on business. I stand on business and will tell you that Love Island is awesome. Okay? If you're looking for something to watch, we are in a fucking full bloom of reality TV. There's so much reality TV, and that's why we created Rapaport's Reality. If you've never listened to Rapaport's Reality, it's the podcast I have with my wife, Kibi. It's fantastic. We talk pop culture. We talk reality TV. We talk a lot about what it's like being married to me. We don't talk about what it's like being married to my wife because she's normal, but she breaks my balls. It's a lot of fun. Subscribe, rate, review. Check out the newest episode of Rapaport's Reality. We talk about Marcus Jordan. Michael Jordan's son. There's a couple of photographs of him putting what looks like, and I hope this isn't true, but it's what looks like nose candy in his nose. And I fuck with Marcus Jordan, and I know that must be hard for him to be Michael Jordan's son. I know you're like, oh yeah, I'd love to be Michael Jordan's son. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but we talk about that. We talk about the greatness of Love Island. We went to go see Deadpool. We had a big problem at the concession line. I didn't even know how to say concession line. Anyway, you should absolutely listen to Rapaport's Reality. It's a lighter, let's say a more gleeful, non-disruptive version of me and, of course, my wife, Rapaport's Reality. You could download it and listen to it wherever you listen to podcast. This episode of Rapaport's Reality this week is particularly fantastic, along with this episode of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. I am so fucking fired up for fantasy football. I am chomping at the bit for regular season NFL action. I can't fucking wait. For once, Aaron Rodgers and I agree that preseason isn't real football. And I am deep in the mines, watching tape, watching highlights, sniffing around injury reports, coordinator movement, inner team dynamics. I am the Fantasy Football Follies / I Am Rapaport think tank. We, the think tank of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast / Fantasy Football Follies, are ready for war. We're ready to rumble. I told you that I have the number 2 pick in my money league. Oh, yeah. And like I said, I found out finally where I'm going to be drafting in the Stern Show League, and it spells trouble. Haktua.
Haktua, and spit on that thing. You get me?
Anyway, it spells trouble for both leagues. So far on the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, we have ran through wide receivers that I'm eyeing. We have ran through the QBs, the quarterbacks, and now it's time to talk about the big fucking bruising speed stir running backs. It used to be in fantasy football that running backs were everything. The days of Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson, Jamal Charles, and the fucking bruiser Priest Holmes. They're gone. Those were great days, but those days are gone. We're not new to this. We're motherfucking true to this. Priest Holmes was that dude for the Chiefs. Fucking bruiser. Fast bruiser. Run over you and then run by you. Those are some good fucking running backs. But times done change. The NFL is more of a high-flying, pass-oriented league. The running backs, they're not as valuable. I mean, they're valuable, but they are not as valuable. But you need to load up real nice and real properly, real strategically on your running backs. Said it once. Said it a million times. Know your guys and get your guys. We have to look at it all, the bell cows, the depth charts, the handcuffs, the PPR out of the backfield, the bruisers who get the goal line attempts, or finesse runners who get vultured by the bruisers at the goal line attempts. A lot of times the guys that get you to the red zone aren't the guys that get to stuff it in the red zone. No Bruno. Game breakers. Matter of fact, let's get into game breakers. Guys who can put you on their backs and win you a week if you have them on your squad. Obviously, the good Christian always delivers on Sunday. How such a great Christian does it so good, so consistently on a Sunday is beyond. I know he's been dealing with the same hammy injury. But if he falls to me, I'm snatching him up real nice and real proper. Breece Hall, the motherfucking wrecking ball. We gave him that name. Breece Hall, the wrecking ball, is finally getting his due. We were on him first, ASAP, for the dynamic, fast, powerful highlight reel that he is. It's hard for me to draft a New York Jet in fantasy football, but there's always a but. If Aaron Rodgers and that offensive line can stay healthy, watch out. But it's a big but and a big if. Bijan, get your weight on. Bijan Robinson is about to kick ass in his second year for the Falcons. They got Kirk Cousins. You like that?
You like that? You like that?
You like that? I don't, but Bijan is sick and he's a budding superstar. And if you told me that you took Hall or Robinson with the number 1 overall pick, I would understand. But, I mean, there's some doubt with CMC because of the injuries and CD because of the contract. But trust your gut. Another game breaker, and it pains me to say it. My former New York Giant, Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll pick him. There's no feelings in fantasy football. It ain't personal. It's business. Pay that man. Now, I can't root for your Philadelphia Eagles, but I will root for you, Saquon Barkley. And when it comes to fantasy football, there are no feelings in fantasy football. He has something to prove. He's got DeAndre Swift, who's now in Chicago, who I've been watching on the aforementioned Hard Knocks. It's Saquon's world, and all the other Eagles are just living in it. Jason Kelsey's retired, which means you're not going to see as many tush pushes. You're not going to see Jalen Hurts doing as many tush pushes. I think Saquon is going to be getting those goal line touchdowns, and the tush pushes aren't going to be as frequent. The next tier of running backs, which is just as important as the first tier. You got to know your guys and get your guys. The second tier of running backs who can do it all and have a nose for the end zone. Travis Etienne of the Jaguars. Kyren Williams of the LA Rams. Kyren was an absolute touchdown machine last year. Coming out of nowhere. But if you take him, listen to me, if you take him, you better also take rookie Blake Corum from the national champion Michigan Wolverines as a handcuff. Thank me later, okay? You better take Corum as a handcuff. Thank me later. And Travis Etienne is just getting better, and the Jaguars are a fucking high-powered offensive machine. Of course, Miami, 1-2 punch in Miami. Raheem Mostert. Etienne. Took me so long. I don't even know if I'm saying his name correctly. Devin Etienne. Very intriguing. I mean, you could theoretically draft and start both of them. Okay? Both are explosive, but having Jahmyr Gibbs and not David Montgomery last year gave me PTSD. We drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and he started cooking. But when I was talking about like goal lines, Jahmyr Gibbs sometimes was the guy that got you to the goal line, and then David Montgomery would stuff it in. Mostert and Etienne, it's kind of the same thing. They're both sick, but you ultimately you want the guy who gets the fucking touchdowns. David Montgomery was putting up crazy numbers last year for the Detroit Lions, and Jahmyr Gibbs was the guy that was a lot of times, it wasn't just Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jahmyr Gibbs a lot of times was the guy that was getting it to the red zone.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.
Staying in the AFC East, I think Stevenson in New England and Cook in Buffalo are both going to have big years. There's not that much competition for touches out of the backfield for either team, which is important. As long as they keep the fumbling issues under control. Keep the fucking ball in your hands. You got one job, not to drop the fucking ball, running backs. A guy last year I had, who I see people are very high on this year, is Isaiah Pacheco, and I get it. I get it. He runs hard, but he isn't much for PPR. I had him last year. Kansas City Chiefs make me nervous because there's so many weapons. They are locked and fucking loaded to the brim. And I love Isaiah, but he gets hurt. My Giants got Devin Singletary from the Houston Texans, and he was a league-winning type player. Do not be afraid to draft Devin Singletary. The King Derek, the truck is in Baltimore. Fucking crazy. The truck is in Baltimore. And I'm looking. He's going to be a problem. I've had the truck before, and I would love to ride that truck again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no Bruno. Tampa Bay, Rachaad White is also a guy you want. He's a fucking strong runner, and he's the only weapon in the Buccaneer backfield. The Terminator. The Terminator, he keeps coming. James the Terminator Conner just keeps putting up numbers. I had him when he was just a young Terminator. Oh, he was, holy shit. And that fucking Arizona offense is going to be high flying this season. I would love to reunite with the Terminator on my fantasy football team, Rapaport's Delight. And I'm telling you guys right now, when it comes to football, when it comes to fantasy football, be a captain. We are the captains. This is when it gets really, really real. Okay? The captains, Captain Picks, have signed an exclusive partnership with Winnable to help grow Captain Picks to the top of the sports betting world. A company that Ray Lewis has invested into. Okay? That's championship fantasy football. That's championship betting. What time is it? It's captain time. What time is it? Captain time. There's major things in motion, and you can join with a free plan or a VIP by going to Winnable, WINNIBLE.com/Captain Picks. Winnable.com/Captain Picks. You got to be in it to win it. Oh, yeah, you got to be in it to win it. Fantasy football and winning for the honey and the money is everything. Winnable.com/Captain Picks. Let's move on to the NFC. The NFC Central. Big names. We know them. We love them. Josh Jacobs in Green Bay. Aaron Jones in Minnesota, who I like, but I don't like smooches. Sammy Smooches. Darnold at quarterback makes me nervous. I talked about the Gibbs-Montgomery combo. They're great. They're both great, but you never know who is going to be stuffing it into the end zone. Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, if you could get him, get him. Just don't be surprised if Montgomery's the one getting the touchdowns. I'm a huge DeAndre Swift fan, so if the price is right, I'll take him also. There's a bunch of teams that are a mess right now at running back. The Raiders, the Bengals, the Panthers, the Cowboys. I can't believe they're fucking rolling with Zeke Elliott again. No disrespect to Zeke, the freak Elliott, but I mean, I got some rookies I got my eyes on, but I'll save that for another episode. There's two-headed monsters. The Washington, I was going to say the Redskins. What is it? The Washington Commanders with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson. We'll see how that plays out. Two-headed monsters. The Chargers have the Gus the Bus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins, both who are from the Ravens. The Chargers are going to be in shootouts per usual. It seems like every single season the Chargers have a team that'll put up numbers. Not necessarily winning, but numbers. But I think people are sleeping on Herbert and Harbaugh. I think they're going to be fun. I think they're going to be putting butts in some seats and get some Los Angeles love for the former San Diego Chargers. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears are going to be a 1-2 punch in Tennessee. It is crazy how things can change in fantasy football. Pollard was a first round pick guy last year. And now he's fighting for snaps. Tony Pollard was like that dude last year. They're both really good as security blankets for the Mayonnaise King of Tennessee. I am high on the Tennessee Titans this year. The Steelers, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. But I think Jalen is that dude, especially with the Steelers declining Harris's fifth-year option. And then, of course, we have the Broncos, who they have a lot going for them in the backfield, but they are still a work in progress. Shout out to the friend of the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, Coach Sean Payton, coach of the Denver Broncos. That was one of the best. Yo, you want to listen to some football? You want to listen to some football talk? Go back and listen to Coach Sean Payton when he was coaching the New Orleans Saints. Get your mind ready for some fucking football on the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. Miles Jordan, put that in the show notes. We got to start dropping things in the show notes. Put the link for the Coach Sean Payton episode in the show notes. Such a good episode. And because we're cooking, because we're rolling, because your draft is coming up, I'm going to give you 3 sleepers, okay? Three sleepers that I don't think get the respect that they deserve. Mark them down and thank me later. Kenneth Walker for the Seattle Seahawks. Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. I know you're like, wait, Alvin's a sleeper? Yeah. And Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. Try to grab one, if not all 3 of those guys in the mid-rounds, and thank me later. Know your guys, get your guys. Win your draft, win your league. We're going to do tight ends next, okay? Got to break down the tight ends I have my eyes on the next podcast. But go back, take notes, questions, DM us, concerns, DM us, and sign up. Winnable.com/Captain Picks. I promise you will come away with more money in your pocket than you had before. Winnable.com/Captain Picks. Came, saw, disrupted. Came, saw, disrupted. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about the world's most disruptive podcast, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Diggity Dunce Brothers. Diggity, take me out of here with something real nice. Take me out of here with something real loud. But most importantly, end this puppy with something real funky. It's the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm out.